Hello, everybody. I'm Eric Trevino, the host of this podcast. This is my wonderful guest. If he wants to introduce himself, he can.
Hello, hello. My name is Kevin. I live in Japan. I do photography kind of as a hobby, and I'm a band manager living here. It's pretty fun.
I know this
Yeah.
guy lives the fucking life. He honestly does. This guy is, I don't know how to describe it. I'm not making it sound creepy, but this guy just he does what he wants and he gets it done. I don't
Damn
even,
right.
all right,
Damn right.
Kevin. Look, man, you need to tell us a little bit about your journey into photography. Like, why would you pick up a camera? No, I'm not asking you like why the fuck why would you ever get a
Yeah.
camera? But why pick up a camera? Like
Yeah.
specific inspirations, anything like that?
So for me, photography was something I really liked as a kid because my
Mhm.
dad would take film shots and whatnot, and then it became digital. But I was always into the film
Mhm.
aspect of it, like taking a picture,
Mhm.
like on a digital camera nowadays, you can just keep taking pictures and choose the one you like. When it came to
Mhm.
like film photography, you had to like think about it, frame it
Mhm.
right. And like I would always watch like my dad and my grandpa, they would have film cameras like
Mhm.
a long time ago, but like they would be taking pictures. But I would notice that when they take pictures, they would like glance, they would like check their settings. My grandpa was like really into it. He had like a multimeter, like
Mhm.
those.
Yeah.
I think I have one right here. It's like it's a meter that checks like how bright it is
Mhm.
and has multiple settings and shit.
Mhm.
Maybe I left it in home. Probably left it at home. But he would be using that
Uh,
and like, it's like, wait, stay right there, turn a little bit, and it's like trying to get the perfect shot. And he would take 3 shots and that's it. And it's like, huh. And nowadays, like you just fucking hold the trigger down and then next thing you know, you got like 60 or 70.
uh,
And like I just like the aspect of like having to really focus and like take it in,
mhm.
like it was something really fun to watch,
Mhm.
and it was like you get the photo after it's processed, and that whole process was like something that really invoked like wanting to take pictures for me. So like when I was a kid, I
Mhm.
would, with some money that I would save, I would buy those, what's it called, this
Little point and shoots, like disposable cameras.
disposable
Yeah.
cameras. Yeah, I would buy those and I would just take random pictures and whatnot.
Mhm.
And like it was more fun waiting for the
Mhm.
film to come back than it was actually taking the pictures for some reason. When I was a little kid,
Yeah.
like I would go like, let's go to Costco, mom. I want to get my pictures. Like I'd like give them the disposable camera.
Mhm.
And I was like, I would be giddy for like a whole day. And that was like the start of my love for like photography.
Right.
And then it started getting to like I got this job.
Mhm.
Um, or no, actually, I guess it was back in school.
Mhm.
Um, I got a, what was it? I think it was an Olympic or a Rico,
Mhm.
but it was like a underwater camera that had
Oh,
like
shit.
8 little LEDs around
Mhm.
the camera, like the
Yeah.
lens itself.
Mhm.
It was like a rugged camera. You could like throw it, you could put in water and everything.
Mhm.
I took that to school and I would take videos of just random people. Like I would just be walking through the hallway and just taking pictures and shit. Go to the fucking I went to the Cayman Islands or whatever with my family for like
Yeah.
on a cruise ship. Took pictures underwater of like everything, and I was like, oh dude, this is so cool. I got LEDs and everything.
To an extent, you still kind of do that today. Like
Oh
whenever
yeah,
you're always with a camera, even if you're recording,
always.
taking photos,
Yeah.
you're
Got the
never really away from.
GoPro.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a Sony little camera,
Mhm.
little AS300.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll always have something to take pictures and record with. I got 2 phones,
Mhm.
2 cameras, two
Mhm.
little like GoPro style cameras. I have like, remember that small little thing?
Yeah, I remember that.
Uh, this thing.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like a little remote control. It looks like it almost. It looks like a little
Yeah.
phone, like a Kodak.
Yeah. So
Uh,
yeah, it's a little Kodak waterproof. Let's see here. Let's turn the exposure up.
3 meters, up to 3 meters.
Yeah.
Now,
It's extremely fun.
I remember
And like you can,
hmm,
yeah.
I remember you would always bring that because last time you were here, you're just taking videos on it, and then when we went to Japan,
Yeah.
you had that little other camera in your thing. why do you honestly
Yeah.
record and take photos so much? I mean, like as a photographer, it's always good because it's like you're capturing a moment.
Yeah.
That's the whole essence of photography. But like you, more than anybody I know, and more than other photographers, you're always with the camera. Like everyone says, like, "Oh, I
Yeah.
always carry a camera with me," and then they rarely do, but
It
you're
gets,
genuinely
yeah, they
using
rarely do because it's heavy or whatever, whatever.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll walk around with a bag that weighs 40 pounds all day long. Like for
Hmm.
me, it's more having it there and being able to use it.
Hmm.
And like even in the moment, like if I have that camera packed too far deep in my bag, I'll just
Hmm.
use my phone.
Right.
Like usually, like if I go somewhere, like I'll go on trips here in Japan, like
Hmm.
I'll go on like an 8 hour drive somewhere random in the middle of the mountains.
Hmm.
I'll bring all my camera setup. I'll like use GoPro style cameras to like record the drive. I'll
Hmm.
get there, I'll set up, and I'll do taking pictures of just random things.
Right.
Like for me, it's like memories that you can look back on later on, but it's also a little part of me does want to in the future take all these videos that I've taken and turn them into like a montage in a sense, like a movie, like a
Uh,
clip, you know?
yeah.
And that's something I really want to do.
Hmm.
I currently have, I want to say, compress. Like I take a lot of videos and then I compress them through Handbrake, so they end up being around like average, probably 20% the size.
Hmm.
But I have about maybe 8 or 9 terabytes currently of video.
Hmm.
That's so original size would probably be what, 5 times that.
Yeah. To
Yeah, so
just massive amounts of files of photos and then
massive amounts of files and photos. Yeah,
I
I've
remember
like I think two.
you
I
joked
have
around
192. Say it.
192.
I have 192,000 photos right now.
Jesus. 192,000 photos. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ, man. You're putting in some work. You do
yeah,
honestly
yeah,
do a
and
lot
like
more than anybody I know.
well, yeah,
Uh,
I take them and I like I'll delete. I don't really delete photos,
mhm,
but like if it's a photo that I don't really care for or like really don't care for, I
mhm,
might delete it. But usually I won't. Like I'll just
mhm,
leave it there, and it's like for me, it's like for my later self. Like
mhm,
you can go down the road and just delete whatever you want. But like I usually don't. It's for me, deleting a photo is like deleting a possible memory.
mhm,
But like I just I have enough money to buy hard drives and whatnot, but when it comes to
mhm.
sorting it, like I have to sort it like right then and there.
Got you. Like you
Yeah,
have to
yeah,
have it like filed in. I remember last time you kind of joked around. I don't know if you're being serious or not, but you said like, "Oh, I'm going to show my boss this in the future."
yeah,
Like, did you actually show like people a lot of the
yeah.
memories just for fun?
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
Like as soon as I came back, like so girls they've never gone shooting like
Hmm.
guns and whatnot.
Hmm.
So I took like some videos and photos at the gun range,
Hmm.
and like as soon as I got back, pretty much like as I was in a meeting, after the meeting was over, I just like called a couple of girls who like had interest in it, and I like showed them the videos of like me shooting guns and whatnot, and they're like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." One of them was like, "Oh, that's scary," and I was like, "No, it's not. You should try it." So like next time they come back to America, I might have them shoot some guns. I don't know.
Dude,
It'd
fuck
be kind of
yeah.
fun.
Then no, that sounds like a lot of fun
Yeah,
because they're kind of just all they really do is just go on tour, right? They don't really have a social life, or I was like,
like they do, but like it's very, very. It's like kind of like me, except they are. How do I say it? They're not as energetic as I am in a sense.
hmm,
Because like I'll run on 2 hours of sleep and still go do stuff. Like
hmm,
they like their sleep more, I
hmm.
guess is probably the best way to put it.
Yeah, they need a little bit of rest before they like kind of go balls to the wall.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly.
So what? Okay, so you kind of told me like photography has been based just because of your past. You see your granddad do, you see your father do it. But
Yeah, yeah.
you always talk about taking videos and taking photos.
Hmm.
Why does photography captivate you more than certain other art forms? Like what does it captivate you more than videography? Does it captivate you more than like painting or drawing? I don't know if you do draw or not, but why does it
Hmm.
captivate you more?
So for me, it's the most real, the most raw form, I guess you could say,
Hmm.
of capturing anything really.
Mhm.
If I could paint and draw, I would, but I
Mhm.
don't think I'd really be that into it because like I have pretty bad ADHD and I can't focus.
Right.
So for me, like being able to take pictures and stuff, like spur of the moment stuff, like I'm
Mhm.
like, I'll be walking somewhere and I'll be like, oh, that's really cool. And then I'll just take a picture and I'll walk, keep going. I can't do like, oh, that's really cool. Let me sit down and draw it. Like I
Yeah.
don't have that attention span. So
Right.
for me, like taking pictures and videos is nice. I like the photography aspect more because you can capture in still time.
Mhm.
Like videos and stuff are really nice to look back and be like, oh yeah, that happened, and like listening to everybody laugh and talk and not. It's like a feel good thing whenever you watch it again.
Mhm.
And like usually I'll go like a couple years back. I'll be like, oh, what did I do last time I went there or whatever. Be like, oh yeah, I'd eat there and let me take a look. Like at one point, um, I was just testing a bunch of angles like for videography and whatnot. Like what angle looks the best when it comes to like eating food. So I go to like a ramen. I went to like 10 or 11, I think 11 ramen places. And I literally had my camera in different angles at all 11 places of me eating ramen.
What the fuck, dude? But you take food so seriously though. So like I don't
Oh
put that
yeah.
past you.
Yeah, no, yeah, I love food.
Mm.
But like food, eating food, like some angles, like if you take a straight on shot of you
Right.
eating noodles,
Right.
when you eat the noodles, it just looks weird. So like taking a top down shot, it's more better, but like you don't want to go too high, so you're just getting the top of the head, and like you don't want to go too sideways, or else like it's just there's a
It's a
lot of
science.
angles that you yeah, yeah. Framing is really, really fun
Mhm. So
kind of
so
thing.
that's what captivates you basically. It's like you're painting without
Yeah,
actually having to take the time, sit,
yeah, yeah,
look,
yeah. That's
paint.
basically what.
Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like I know like you always take photos of your food. You post it on Google as much as you can.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
you don't necessarily would you consider food photography like one of your favorite types of photography? Like what is your favorite genre of photography? Street, landscape, food, just portraiture.
So for me, it's a favorite type of photography. It's actually trying to like the way I live my life
Mhm.
is more so like jack of all trades, master of none.
Mhm.
So I don't get to the point where I'm trying to master each thing, but I try to get to the point where I'm really good at it. So
Right.
like right now, I consider myself very good at taking pictures of food. So
Mhm.
I've already got that done. And because of that, weirdly enough, I've actually moved out of taking pictures with my big camera,
Mhm.
unless it's something that's very, very nice and I want to like keep that as a photo. I've
Mhm.
gotten to the point where I just take pictures of food on my phone now because I've already got that under my belt.
Right.
Like if I really want to, I'll take good photos with this. But for me, when it comes to cell phone, I think cell phones to me are kind of like cheating when it comes to
Mhm.
photography
Mhm.
because they use a lot of like software to like fake blur or
Right.
like the color vibrancy, like it'll change things up. Like my phone, it'll automatically blur some stuff background. It'll actually make it a bit more saturated in the food color so it pops more.
Mhm.
Like for me, that stuff I want to try to edit in Lightroom and understand like what colors pop out, what looks better on your plate, what
Mhm.
looks more enticing to
Mhm.
eat. And like I would try to get the good angles for that kind of stuff. But like I guess when it comes to my all-time favorite photography
Mhm.
style,
Mhm.
I honestly think it might be landscape simply because I love nature and you can go, especially here in Japan,
Yeah.
you can travel for an hour somewhere and have a completely different scene. Like in San Antonio,
Mhm.
if or like in Texas in general, you drive an hour, like the difference is not too grand.
Right.
It's same trees, you got the same type of grass, you
Mhm.
got the same type of concrete, asphalt, whatever. But
Mhm.
like here, it's a lot easier to just go somewhere and then get an entirely different. It's like I can drive an hour, go see the ocean. I can drive an hour, go on top of a mountain. I
Mhm.
can drive an hour, go under a tunnel, like underground, like really deep. Like
Jesus.
there's a lot of stuff you can take here. So it's like really nice to get like landscape shots.
Mhm.
I'm gonna send you some.
Okay.
I have a good amount. Um, there's one type of photography that I'm trying to get into, but I don't want to get into because it's expensive,
Okay.
and that's astrophotography.
Astrophotography. I did not expect that of you, to be honest with you.
Yeah, astrophotography looks really cool,
Mm,
and I like the concept of it. It's just in order to take really good astrophotography, you do need to buy a head like that mounts on your tripod
mm,
that moves your camera at the speed of the Earth's rotation. Because you're taking a 30-second exposure. If you even if you take a 5-second exposure, you
right.
get a streak when it comes to the stars
Right.
because it's moving. So like you need to buy like a head that goes with the movement and tracks in motion and in place. So like whenever like like super moon stuff, I guess. Like I took
Mm,
some really, really nice shots of the moon,
mm.
but like I couldn't do too long of an exposure because it just,
It just
it would
starts
get blurry.
blurring. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
How,
So
do you know how much that equipment even costs though? Like, do you have like a ballpark?
if you buy one used, you could probably get a decent one for 250. But like if you want like a really, really nice one, you're looking at like $400, 400, $500 maybe.
Damn.
And on top of that, you want to buy like specific filters because
Mm,
um there's certain lights that you don't want to get into the film. So you
mm,
would buy like $100 lens filters just to take pictures of astrophotography to like cut out certain UV,
mm,
certain IR, certain color wavelengths, so stuff pops out more, so you can see the actual like nebula, like the clouds and stuff.
mm,
Because a lot of that is just like it's a lot of noise when you look up, especially in a place that's like near Tokyo.
mm,
So there's like a place that I would drive to that's like on the beach, really deep south compared to like a lot of like there's like no light pollution there,
mm.
and I got to take some pictures of like the stars and whatnot, and it was really cool. And I saw a dude there who was using the head, and he was just sitting there, and I was like, "Oh, that's really cool. What's your Instagram?" So I like looked at his photos, bro. Blew me away. It looks
Shit.
so beautiful, and it's like, damn. And he like combines them because like if I want to try to take shots that he did because he would basically combine photos. So he would take a long exposure shot without it moving
Right.
of like the landscape, and then he would take another one of like the nebula or whatever, the Milky Way or whatever it's called.
Mm,
I don't know what he was taking a picture of, but
mm.
basically because the camera moves, you're not going to get a good picture of the landscape.
Right.
So he would combine the two, but like it was seamless and it looked so cool. Those
Jeez.
kind of shots, like stuff like that, really makes me want to take better pictures. You know?
There's like a, I wouldn't say
Yeah,
like, oh yeah, almost like a competition. Like you see
kind of.
people
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
well, and you're like, damn, I want to go up to where they're at. Or
yeah,
it's not even just about gear, but it's also just about skill, like their knowledge and their know-how.
yeah,
It's kind of
yeah.
exciting to
Exactly.
know that you could go to where they're at some point in time.
Yeah,
And
yeah. Another thing for me is like when it comes to like looking at other people's photography, you get to see what the world looks like through their eyes,
mm,
And how's that?
mm.
Okay. Well, we'll keep
Yeah,
it going then.
yeah, no, this is 9 minutes. After this, we'll probably have to do like another
That's fine.
call.
That's
Okay,
fine. That's fine. Yeah.
let's go. We'll
But
cut this
like
part out. We'll cut this part
wait, what was I talking about? I forgot what I was talking about.
out. Fuck. We're talking about stars. You saw the guy fascinated by skill that you want to get to that certain point.
Uh-huh. And it's not that
Yeah.
it's entirely a competition.
Mm,
For me, it's more so like being able to see the world through somebody else's eyes. So that I love giving other people cameras
mm,
to use, even if they aren't like a photographer or videographer, or they have no interest.
mm,
They will, whenever they take a picture or they hold the camera and they're like taking a video or whatever, it's their viewpoint, like how they see the world, like,
mm,
through their eyes, this is what the angle it should be for them.
mm.
And
Like
it's like
entirely
seeing like
unique.
even mm-hmm.
Mm,
And for me, that's like super interesting, being like, oh, okay, so this is how you like to see this style. Like if I give somebody the camera and I have them take a portrait of somebody else,
mm,
they'll try to get different things in the shot than I would. And I'm like,
mm.
ah, interesting. I see, like, stuff like that.
No, that's definitely interesting because photographers, we always go by like rules, right? Like, oh, we can't do that.
Yeah,
That doesn't make any sense.
yeah,
We can't do that. And then, for instance, like Cindy, my girlfriend, she would be like, oh, what if she has no clue how to use a camera? And we were on a trip, and she just asked me, hey, can I borrow your camera just play with it? I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. I give it to her, and then she's taking like rain. She doesn't even know how to hold it, but she's kind of like holding it in weird angles, and she starts taking
yeah.
fairly decent photos where I'm like, I wouldn't even consider holding it at that angle, or I wouldn't consider that composition
Right.
because they have no
Yeah,
clue. They have no clue.
exactly.
It's a playground for them.
Exactly. Uh-huh. And for me, like looking at that
Uh,
gives me more joy than looking at somebody who takes the proper like golden ratio, rule of
mhm,
thirds, like the proper composition. Like whenever I see somebody who's an amateur who knows nothing about it and they
mhm,
just take it how they see it, for me
mhm,
that's like a really rewarding thing to watch.
mhm,
Like, ah, I see you could take it like that. That makes sense. Or
mhm.
like, man, I would never do that. Like, what
You're
kind
like,
of angle is this? Yeah.
you're like, man, that sucks. And then like you end up seeing the
Yeah.
photo and you're like, wait a minute, this is
Yeah,
pretty
yeah, it's
interesting. Yeah.
actually decent. Yeah, yeah, stuff like that. Like that's really fun. That's why I carry multiple cameras,
Hmm,
is because like sometimes if I go, like sometimes I go to Shibuya
mhm,
and I'll be taking like random pictures of people and whatnot,
mhm,
and like I'll find somebody who I can like trust,
mhm,
and I'll like become friends with them or whatever, and I'll hand them my other camera and say, hey, let's go take pictures of people.
mhm.
So then I'll get side by side shots. Like I'll take pictures and then he'll take pictures or she'll take pictures, whoever it is.
Right.
I don't even know who it is, but like they'll take pictures and I'll go back and be like, ah, okay. So
Mhm,
I thought it would look like this, but they thought it should look like this kind of
right.
thing.
It's like a
Yeah, that's
different
like really
perspective you're
fun.
learning.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
honestly really sick. When you were talking about astrophotography and food photography, that really, I wouldn't say just piqued my interest, but that surprised me because when people think of Tokyo and people think of Japan, or Tokyo specifically, like should be, everyone's like, oh, street photography.
yeah,
Street
yeah,
photography is so insane in Tokyo. Oh, you see all these
yeah,
videos, and they're like, oh, let's go on a photo walk, and all they do is like take photos of like random people on the street. Do you
yeah.
do you know photographers that are like that, or do you actually like street photography in that way?
So I do know some people who do like to take street photography and they will go take street. Sometimes I'll join them. I'm not the biggest fan when it comes to it. Surprisingly enough, I started off doing that when I got my camera and I got
Mhm,
some really nice shots and whatnot. But for me, like capturing the essence of just strangers is a
mhm,
very, very fun thing to do.
mhm,
But like, I don't know, for me, it's rewarding whenever the pictures of somebody that I know.
mm,
So I prefer to take pictures of like maybe I take a picture and then I'll go talk to the person and meet them, and then the picture has more meaning out of that.
right.
And
Like the-
like
like
for me,
uh, like an actual like a
yeah,
painting of a person. Like you're doing. Well, I mean,
yeah,
it's like a
yeah,
portraiture more mainly, rather than like a
yeah,
street photo. Okay.
yeah, yeah. So for me, it's like street photography, taking pictures of strangers. They look cool. I love it, but like it doesn't have the emotional factor, the I don't know what it's called in English, but like it's like a connection thing.
Mm.
It doesn't have it for me. Like I kind of lost interest in it after I took some like really shots, not gonna lie. It was fun for a bit and then I kind of got over it, I guess. I don't know. For me, street photography is probably more fun when you go into the middle of nowhere
Uh-huh.
and there's like one person in this town
Mhm,
and you can just take a picture of them in the town with the landscape. For me,
mhm,
I like the landscape aspect of it too.
mhm.
So
You like seeing the
like I have
environment around them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I wonder if I can show you. I have one picture that I really, really like.
Mhm.
Can you screenshot here?
While you're doing that, I'm gonna say that
Restart or
no, no, not restart. That like like I said, like I was saying previously, like everybody talks about like street photography, Tokyo. Oh my God, it's amazing.
mm,
And no one really like when you look at those photos, no one really like kind of shows the landscape of like Tokyo, or no one really shows like things going on. It's just like
exactly.
a close-up shot of the person, and
Yeah,
it's not it's interesting and it's fun, but then you're just like, oh, this is just like street photography anywhere else. Like this could be like San Antonio.
yeah.
This could be
No, like yeah, exactly,
uh,
exactly. And it's like they're just taking pictures because Japanese people look different than people in San Antonio. So basically, from the eyes of somebody who lives in Tokyo, it's more interesting to go to San Antonio than it would be to
right,
be in Tokyo because you see it every day.
right. Like grass is greener on the other side, basically.
Always, always is. Mm-hmm. Let me
Do
see if I can
you,
get that picture real quick.
yeah, no problem. Mm,
Stuff like this one.
mm,
This right here is like using my film camera. Like,
mm,
there's just something about film that digital just can't reproduce, you know?
mm. So safe to say that you honestly prefer film way over digital, right?
Yeah, if I could take film photos
Hmm.
as much as I can take digital, I would choose film all day.
Okay.
For
Because
me, using digital cameras is actually kind of like practicing for film, getting like all the concepts in my head there. So like I'll
right,
take a bunch of pictures. I'll usually take a bunch of pictures with my digital camera and then I'll pull out my film camera and I'll take pictures with that.
I see. So it's like you said, just practicing for almost like a test.
Kind of, yeah, yeah.
Do you prefer like okay, so when you are on tour with your band, do you prefer to shoot mainly with film?
Well, no. I do take pictures for them to use, so I will use digital camera photos for them to use. But like, if I could use film, I probably would use film.
Hmm.
Like, but there's some things like this is like a filter, you know, like a cross filter.
Right.
You ever use those before?
I have used a cross filter before. I used it back in high
Yeah,
school, I believe. Uh,
yeah, yeah.
they're fun. They're a lot of
They're
fun.
very fun. Yeah, like stuff like this, like live photo. I guess I'm blessed in the sense that I get to take live photography of the same band all the
Mm,
time.
mm,
Like being able to take like weird shots and just mess around. Like if you
mm.
go, usually if you go to a concert, you want to take pictures that aren't experimental in a sense.
Right.
But I like trying to get to that aspect, like experimental shots, because it just looks cool, like timing and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's a really good photo. It's
Yeah,
an incredible photo.
like
It-
yeah,
like, so I'm gonna plug you in real quick. So you are
uh-huh.
the manager of a very successful J-Rock group called Gacharic Spin, right? And
Yeah, Gacharic Spin. Yep.
Gacharic Spin. Sorry, my pronunciation is very bad.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
And so you know that photography in and of itself just it always requires a second person. Usually, when you take a photo of a person behind the lens, so a client, a model, anybody, and in your case, of course, band members. How do you navigate
Yeah.
the relationships with these people to order to create like a successful project? Do you have, say, like the bands? I mean, obviously they're just playing to their heart's content, right? And then you're just taking the picture of the moment. But is
Yeah.
there any photos that you have taken that aren't of the band just playing, but just the band kind of just chilling out, they're together, and then that you kind of use that as promo? Like, how does that work?
So you're talking about like an off shot, like whenever they're not performing, like just a photo of them just chilling.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
something like that.
yeah, so usually I'll take like candid photos like that,
Mm,
like of the band, and I'll
mm,
give it to them,
mm,
but they won't really use it.
mm,
I really actually have them do more PR work in Japan. I'll
mm.
usually take photos and PR stuff for America, and
Ah, okay.
usually those wouldn't really include so much of the candid side.
Mm,
We have like a bunch of like we have fan clubs and a bunch of stuff. We have like a an online album, if you will,
mm,
that will show like for people on like who are like fan club members,
mm,
and a lot of those shots I'll be taking. It's like more candid side, like I guess something like this. This is like in the back room of a live, before the live kind of thing, just chilling in the back room kind of thing.
mm.
Let's see, I don't have too many on my wallpapers. I have a lot in jet. You want to see my Lightroom real quick?
Yes, I would love to.
I have like multiple catalogs. My first catalog got too big. I think that it's going to automatically open in the first catalog, but it's a little too big.
Mm.
I'd have to open another one real quick.
But usually, like when you take pictures of the band, because you'll do promo for America. Are they like easygoing when you put the camera in front of their face? Do they like it? Do they think it's fun or
So they're professionals in that sense. So
right?
having a camera in their face isn't something that's foreign to them, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So I would say they specifically them, they're not that uh how do you say, shy around the camera. So it's really easy to take pictures of them.
Right.
Now, I do some photo shoots sometimes. We go to like a studio and whatnot.
Hmm.
Ooh, a little off topic, but this photo right here.
Yeah.
So, you know, like Fast and Furious, how like they were like doing the Tokyo drift and like they drift through all the people.
Yeah.
So I tried to get like a shot like that, but like
Mm-hmm.
not drifting, of course, driving.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I got.
That's a good photo.
Like blurred out everybody else, but got the car completely stopped kind of thing.
Where was this in oh, of course in Japan, was this in Tokyo or
This is in Shibuya. This is like at the crossing where they had took that scene
uh,
of them drifting. So
a Honda
this is like one of
NSX,
my
right?
favorites. Yeah.
Uh,
Yep.
Jeez.
Very, very nice shot. Oh, you see the 171,000 on this catalog?
You shoot to your heart contents. Um,
Yeah.
it could be anything from cars, portrait, band, and what I've noticed is that you use different like kind of lenses, or not just lenses, but kind of like different effects for your lens for the band.
Yeah.
You use that often.
So no, for me it's experimental, like
Mhm.
trying to see how it will look. Will it look good in this situation, in this scenario? Would I be able to apply this anywhere else? Because I take more pictures in a live, like in a concert scenario than anywhere else.
Right.
So that's my grounds for experimentation. So I'll buy a bunch of filters and whatnot and test them out. I've recently been getting into some really old vintage lenses because
Mhm.
they have less filters on them. Because like you know like well I guess I can show you,
Mhm.
but there's some lenses that like the really old lenses they will have less coatings on them,
Mhm.
basically meaning they'll let in different kinds of light or like they'll have lens flares and stuff like that. And like using that is actually a lot more fun than taking a super crisp, clean photo. I think the more I get into photography, the more I actually like less quality,
Mhm.
which is
The
weird.
the less uniform, basically.
Yeah,
Mhm. Like you already
like
know the
like
rules, you don't mind breaking them now. You just kind of it's more for fun
correct,
and
correct.
experimental, where you're able to do things that you didn't think were possible beforehand, just because you were able to experiment and not be kind of contrapt to what you were doing previously. Almost like how you're saying when you have like a new person use a camera and they just start using it in a crazy way.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Like just experimenting with camera settings is really fun too.
Mm. And I mean, like you take thousands of photos. How often do you like up? Do you have a portfolio? If you do, like, how often do you update it?
So I actually don't have a portfolio, which is
Whoa, okay.
weird, but
Uh-huh.
um, I don't really have for me this is simply experimentation for me, like
Mhm.
being able to take like see this is with an old lens
Mhm.
and you can see like the ring, the lens flare effect that it has and
Mhm.
like how blurry it kind of is,
Mhm.
that kind of stuff, like how to get the right angle, like you know stuff like that, like really really interesting to me.
Mhm.
But like I don't I don't really look I don't want to make this a job, therefore I don't really care to have a portfolio.
Right.
For
It's
me
just.
this is like a hobby.
Mhm.
And that's what like interests me the most because I'm doing this for myself really,
Mhm.
and I don't really need anybody else to say like, oh, that's really really good, or maybe you should do this, or I really like that style. Like
It's mainly
if I get
just for
told that kind of stuff,
right.
it affects me to want to take pictures of that style more so than however I feel creative about it.
Mhm. Mainly just whatever you want to do, you're gonna do regardless if someone tells you not to.
Correct, correct.
Right. So if you're like, oh, Kevin, I believe you should do more of this and you should do that, it just goes completely past you, and you're more focused on. I'd rather do what I want to do and makes me happy as a photographer than what like a
Yeah,
set of people will do.
yeah.
Now, like going off of that, do you I don't really think you're on social media too much, but if you are, do you like see and get inspired by social media like through photography, or do you ever think like you said, you don't really let people talk to you and say, "Oh, yeah, I think you should do that." But do you look at social media and you look at people's photographs and you think, "Oh, I kind of want to replicate that, or I want to do kind of something similar to what they're doing?"
Yeah, yeah. So I'll be on social media
Mm,
and I will be very, very intrigued by a lot of things. Like I'll see how some people like to take shots of things I've seen before. So
mm,
I actually like seeing videos or pictures of places I've been, so I
mm,
can be like, oh, I remember how that scene is in my head, and
mm,
I have a mental image. But when they take a photo or video,
mm.
they're showing it through their perspective of how it looks, and like seeing that is very, very inspiring in a sense. Like, oh yeah, I guess I could look at it through that style. Like, oh, that stands out more to them. I didn't notice that before. Like that kind of things. I love that style. Like watching other people's styles
Mm.
inspires me to like come up with my own style kind of thing.
Right, like it's giving you insight on how other people were kind of functioning with a camera.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Do you
Like
get inspiration more
uh,
from Western photographers or more from Japanese photographers?
I get more inspiration from amateur photographers
Hmm.
in rural areas.
Got you. But they're working with what they got.
Exactly. They're working with what they got and they'll take pictures that are like really like not the norm in a sense.
Mm,
And it's like, oh, I see. Like, so for them, they're just using the camera as an extension of their body, but like in the purest form.
mm,
Versus we use a camera as a tool to try and capture like the perfection or imperfection
mm.
in moments.
So
Like,
they're able
I don't
to
know.
like kind of relax with what they're doing, where we're kind of very high stress, pose like this, pose
Yeah,
like that, look like this. I'm gonna have the camera right
yeah.
here. Be careful. They're just like you said. I mean, we said this briefly. Like they're having fun, and
Yeah.
it's hard. Do you ever think that it gets hard? Do you ever lose kind of like that silliness that you had with the camera when you first had it when you were a kid? Because yeah, I know you say
I
it's
would.
just more of a hobby now, but do you ever kind of miss going back to that where it's like, this is fun. I don't care. I'm gonna do that, but or do you feel like you're still restricted by like what you know?
So the more I learn
Mm,
about proper photography, the more it does restrict me in a sense, I guess. Yeah.
mm,
I'll send you a bunch of pictures you can show later.
mm.
Probably be easier.
No, thanks for
Yeah.
showing us that. That was great. I love
Yeah,
the
yeah.
photos, man.
Yeah. That was only less than 1% of a percent of what I got. So
Yeah, I saw you have thousands of photos on just like one drive alone. So I can't
oh yeah.
imagine.
Oh yeah.
I can't imagine how many you have in total, plus the videos you
I've
take
got
on
like
a basis.
yeah. I have about 50 terabytes or so storage.
Yeah.
And that's on my computer.
Mm-hmm.
I also have like another 30 terabytes offline.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll have like, yeah,
God, man. I only have like
yeah,
I could only with the photos I take, I only fill up about like a terabyte of space. I can't imagine 30 like just offline and then like another few terabytes online. Like
yeah, yeah.
like the gear you use, you have a substantial amount. You have a lot of
Oh
memory,
yeah.
you have a lot of cameras, film
Hmm.
and digital. Walk us through us what you got. Like what's your favorite camera per se? As in like the one that you use the most, the one that has the most emotional value to you, and like you're just your daily driver.
So that changes by the day, but the one that I use the most is probably this one
Mm,
currently.
mm,
Because I'm still trying to get the full potential out of it. It's a Sony A7 III.
mm,
See if you can see it right there.
mm,
Sony A7 III. I have a 24 to 105 G lens on here.
mm. Ooh, good lens. Good
F4,
lens.
constant F4. Yeah, it's a very, very nice lens. It's pretty expensive. It's got, your autofocus, whatever. You got the button on the side to hold focus. Through this lens and or through this setup, I've probably taken a little over a little over 70,000 photos, maybe.
God, man.
Yeah, through this setup alone. It's a double SD card setup. Very,
Mm,
very fun to use. I just go ham with this thing. This thing is really, really nice. I got this um off-white, quote unquote, strap,
yeah,
camera strap. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So I got this from a friend who got it in Korea, an
right,
off-white bag,
right.
and they were gonna throw it away because it was a fake. And I was like, I'll have it. So then I kind of just, took an old camera strap and
Uh,
just I cut it up and sewed it together.
hey, you
This
gotta
is my
flex on us, man.
yeah, I got my off-white on here.
My camera
Here's a
strap is
here's a
like this random, like 80s strap. I don't know. I bought it when I got it. It was like on this old film camera. I had to take it out, put it on my digital one. It's this super
yeah,
old, like knitted thing.
this right here is a Konica. Let's see if you can see it.
Hmm. Ah, yeah. Damn, man.
Yeah, it's an old Konica strap.
So you're geared up. You're geared up. And
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Here's a picture from last night.
just you drinking it with all your friends.
Yeah,
Do you remember taking that photo or are you too drunk?
I was pretty gone. I
Yeah.
remember saying let's take a group photo, but
After that, just kind of dead
yeah,
silence.
yeah.
Hmm.
I woke up in my car, but like in
Uh,
the back seat asleep,
okay,
like in the
okay.
parking
Yeah.
lot. Yeah, don't worry, don't worry. I There's a bar across the street from my
Yeah.
car, and I got drunk with all my friends.
Hmm.
Somehow made it back to my home, like where I live.
Hmm.
Went to the bar, got a beer, and then I remember just I was like, I don't even want to go home right now. So
No.
I just literally went into the back of the van
Hmm.
and just slept in the back of the van. And I woke up and I was like, I was really drunk last night. Yeah.
Like everyone has this idea that Japan is like a very strict country. Tokyo is a very strict city. You always talk about you always get drunk, hang out with your
Oh
friends,
yeah.
everyone's having
Oh
fun.
yeah.
How do they see like I said, we touch on street photography. How do they see like when someone sticks a camera on their face and just takes a photo? How do people react?
So one thing about Japan is that we're very, very non-confrontational people.
Mm-hmm.
So if you stick a camera in our face, most of the time we're not really going to do anything, even though we don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
Some people just simply don't care, but
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's more so like in America, depending on the state, of course, it's illegal because you're in public. In
Right.
Japan, it's a really, really weird gray area because it's technically not legal unless there's consent, but they don't enforce it.
Right.
Yeah. So like that kind of stuff to me is it's a fun aspect, but like it's on the border of like it's okay or it's not okay. I still do it because
Mm-hmm.
I mean I don't care. If I want to do it, I'll do it. But like for me, it's just like a weird thing. Like I don't know. I can't speak for the masses, but I'd say in general, most Japanese people don't like getting a camera stuck in their face,
Mm.
but they don't mind if it's far away.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Have
yeah.
you ever been confronted like having a camera like near somebody like
Shoved in the
taking a photo
face.
in their direction? Not just in like not just in their face, but like general direction in their face, kind of in their general direction in the view. Has anyone like kind of confronted you at least once?
No,
No.
but
Wow.
I think that has to do with my size.
Okay.
I'm like 6'3" and really big, and
Yeah.
most Japanese people are like 5'8".
Yeah.
Yeah, so
You're a
not
big
not
dude. Yeah.
I've yeah, I haven't really been confronted, but I think it has to do more so with my size than making them uncomfortable and they're not liking it.
I see.
Hmm.
Because you
Oh,
like
let me
street
show you.
photography in Texas, you stick someone like you stick a camera in someone's face, and it's like it's kind of mixed reaction. Some people that like kind of look at you weird, and then they're like, yeah, whatever. Some people try and
Yeah,
confront you. I remember this one time was in New
yeah,
York. Some guy wasn't
uh-huh,
even taking a picture of this girl, but he was like taking a picture of like the street, and
yeah,
this lady had happened to like walk in front of him, and she turns and snaps him like, "Why are you taking photos of me? You need to delete that off your camera right now." And this wasn't even like Times Square where they're trying to like game you for money. This was like a random street. And this guy, you
Yeah.
could tell, is like scared out of his mind because it's just
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm just like taking a photo of like the sunrise. It looks really good. She's like, I don't care. You're gonna delete that
Yep.
thing right now. She's like trying to reach for his camera, and I walked past him. This was before I was really into photography, but I walked past him and
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, that kind of sucks. And I was like, yeah, he probably
Yeah.
be like
Yeah.
sticking the camera in her face. And then now where I'm like actually bringing my photos out to take in public, I'm like, like you say, it's like a gray area.
Yeah. 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 Because I mean, like, you are taking pictures of people without their consent. However, they're in a public place.
Mm-hmm.
And also, nobody really knows who they are. Therefore, it's a candid photo of an object versus a person because there's no story to it.
Right.
Like, that's the way I see street photography is you're taking pictures of people, but like the people is an object to it's an object within your composition.
Right. It's just like
Until
a
you
part
give
of the
that
landscape.
person yeah, until you give that person a story and a name, it's an object
Right.
because you don't know them, nobody knows them, kind of thing.
It's
Like
just
whenever
like,
I take pic, yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why I like taking pictures of people I know
mhm.
because having them in the composition has more meaning behind it. Like this person specifically in this area means more than if it was somebody else, kind of thing.
I see what
Like
you mean.
those types of photos.
It's not
Yeah,
like it's some random dude I saw on the street because he looked cool. It's just like, hey, this is my
yeah,
friend. I know this guy.
yeah,
I could send this photo to him. I
yeah,
can make him happy by doing this, right?
yeah, yeah. Exactly, exactly. You want to see some more of the gear that I have?
Yeah, sure. I would love to.
I'll start off with my film cameras.
I would love to see that. You like this entire interview you were talking about raving about film cameras. This is you got to look at
Oh,
a
dude,
few.
I have a very big selection of different types of film cameras.
Mhm.
Let's see here.
What's your favorite format? Do you primarily shoot 35 millimeter, 120?
35.
Mm,
I did want to get into 120.
mm,
However, it wasn't for me. It just made more sense doing 35 because it was a lot simpler to carry around and
mm,
like just handle.
mm.
Um, I've only shot 120 a couple times. I think if I were to go 120, I'd probably actually just go straight to medium format.
Mhm.
Because to me, that'd be like the next step up versus for 35 mil for some reason. It just feels right.
So you don't really consider like 120 like just an option to go to right now. You just I'm gonna go full frame.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why is that though? You just really don't like medium format, or you don't like 120?
120.
Mm,
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's, for me, it's like the equivalent of going from like a 4/3, like a Panasonic 4/3,
mm.
but you're like upgrading to APS-C.
Ah, okay.
Like, yeah, you get some more out of it.
Mm,
Yeah, you get some better focal lengths, but
mm,
if you're gonna like upgrade from a spot, why
mm,
not just go to the top kind of
mm,
thing?
mhm.
Like, also like the format of the actual camera doesn't really change. Like
Right.
the camera size, it doesn't really change. And it's like, I mean, yeah, you can get some more stuff out of it, but why spend more money in that aspect when I can
Mm,
just spend more the same money? Well,
mm,
maybe a bit more when it comes to
mm.
larger medium format cameras, but yeah,
Go big or go home. Go big or go home is what you're saying, right?
yeah, basically, yeah. So this
Is it
is
easy to
my
get a lot of this gear in Japan? Because I know in Texas or in the United
yeah,
States, it's pricey. You got to go through a lot of people. You got to know
yeah,
somebody who knows somebody, and it's always going to be like $300 minimum for like something
yeah,
half decent.
yeah. It is a lot easier here. We do have a very extensive secondhand market when it comes to lenses and cameras.
Mm,
That market is dying down though because there's
mm,
not a lot of people. The price of film is going up.
mm,
Like right now, film is so expensive. It's I have some, but like I don't want to use it because it's so expensive, kind of thing.
mm, mm.
Is my video frozen?
Oh no, no, you're fine.
Am I moving?
Oh yeah, you're moving fine.
Okay, it's just
Uh,
my side then.
uh,
This is my first camera.
mm,
I got this from my grandpa. It's a Konica FT1. It
mm.
was like from 1970s. I'm not sure if there's actually spot that. shows, but like I was using this for a long time.
Mm.
Um, it finally just kaput and just
Oof.
died. The motor stopped working.
Oh.
This is not the wine type. This is like the first one of the first cameras that had automatic system for like you take a picture and it
Mm.
automatically like read like
Winds of film.
what's the term? Winds the film. That's what I'm
Jeez.
looking for. Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty insane. Because what
Yeah.
year is that? You said it was a 19.
Like 70 something.
That is so basically getting a camera like that in the 70s. Your granddad, he knew it was up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was really into it. And he gave me this and some old lenses. I still use those lens. I actually use those lenses on my digital cameras.
Mhm.
I have an adapter for it.
Mhm.
But like, let's see. So he gave me this one here. This one right here is, I don't know if there's actually a maker name for this one. Should be CPC CCT. Don't really know what maker that is, but it's a really, really like old Konica
Mhm.
A or AR mount uh, lens. But this thing, it's like we don't really get this style anymore of zoom lenses. This is how you
No.
zoom. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
like
like
pulling the lens basically in and out and like
yeah,
in a
yeah,
weird
yeah,
way, in a little weird way.
yeah. But it's like it actually makes sense when you're like on the go. You just like
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
you don't have to do the like a turny thing. You just kind of like do this and then you focus with this
Mhm.
instead of having two separate rings. It's all in one. I
Mhm.
really like this style. This is a very blurry lens though. It's really nice. It's really nice.
It's a very soft lens.
Very soft,
Mhm.
but it looks really nice on digital cameras for certain things. I
Mhm.
would say more so like not portraits, but like groups. It looks
Group
better
like group
for like a
photos.
far away group. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
interesting.
I also have this, which has the same kind, but the whole lens moves forward.
What the is that? Is that for? Did that come off a film camera?
Yeah, yeah. This is from the Konica. This is what I got from my grandpa.
Oh my god.
And the cool thing about this
Yeah.
one is it has like a macro thing, so it's
Macro
like an
setting.
extension tube. Yeah. So it has an extension tube in there that
Very
actually moves
interesting.
all the elements forward. So you can get like a small extension tube within the lens.
Mm.
So you don't have to like pop one on.
Mm.
So it has the ratios like from 1 to 8 to 1 to 4 5.
Earlier in the interview, you said that you're taking macro photography. Or
Yeah.
you were using that lens.
I used this one in the very beginning, but it
Mhm.
got to a point where it was just too blurry because it's such an old
Mhm. Mhm.
thing. But like when it came to like shots of like a bug
Mhm.
walking on the sidewalk or something,
Mhm.
this is perfect for that.
Mhm.
Because you don't care so much about like the detail on the back of the bug, like all the lines and grooves within like a beetle's like wing cover.
Mhm.
It's more so like the shot of it being in its own little world kind of
Mhm.
thing.
Mhm.
But when it comes to like flowers and stuff like that, you want all the small details. You want to see the pollen. This one you can only really see blobs because it's not sharp enough.
Right.
But the concept of having a tube built into the actual lens is something that hasn't really been remade for so long. And this right here, for me, is like a really, really cool lens.
Speaking
But
about that, do
that's,
you believe that like equipment is going out of like I wouldn't say out of style, but like equipment is kind of like regressing as opposed to like
yeah,
okay.
I think equipment's regressing. It's getting more simple.
Mhm.
It's getting a lot more simple. Um, you're getting less power to like, you know, modify your pictures. Some of the newer lenses, so like the simple ones, like the
Mhm.
really cheap ones, are
Mhm.
not threaded sometimes, so you can't even put like a filter on them. Like for me, that's like taking away from photography in general.
Exactly. They're pulling shit away when they should be adding more
Yeah,
things. And
yeah,
we went
yeah,
from like you were talking about that camera, the one from the 70s, where they're like, okay, auto wind the film in the
yeah,
70s, and now this with 2023, they're taking features out to, I guess,
hmm,
simplifies that's what they want to say, or they say, oh, but the
yeah,
glass
yeah,
is a lot more. is a lot better than the one last generation. I feel like they're just releasing too many things.
Yeah.
Now, now show us, if you don't mind, your main film camera. There you go. Oh, is that your main film
No,
camera?
main film camera,
Main
this
camera.
one.
There we go. Oh, isn't that the one that you showed me not too long ago?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the EOS 3. This
Hmm.
thing was like a $3,000 camera back in the day. This
Oof.
lens was like a 2,000 or 1,000 something dollar lens. It's like 80, it's an 85-1.8.
Hmm.
It's this thing is really, really nice. I
Hmm.
like this thing. This thing
That's a
has all the, like, for a camera from like 1990 something,
yeah.
this thing has a lot of features on it.
No, it's a beautiful camera.
Um, yeah, yeah. Uh, I mean, for me, there's not too much to say about this thing. I got this from a dude I know here who basically kind of just quit photography and he just
Uh,
kind of gave this to me.
uh,
He bought it full price back in the day. He just
uh,
gave it to me. One of the coolest little cameras I have.
how lucky.
Um, yeah, yeah. Right place, right time. Right place, right
Always at
time.
the
That's
right
that's how it
time.
is.
You quit
Yeah,
photography, he gave you everything.
yeah, yeah. Here, let's see. Let me take a picture of you through the screen real quick.
All right, let me give a thumbs up. The viewers at home, for listeners at home, Kim's gonna give me a good portrait.
Make sure I get the time remaining in there.
Time lapse,
Love
7 minutes. Now,
these.
before all of this kind of comes to a close, I just want to thank you, like, for coming onto the show, coming onto the little interview.
Yeah, yeah.
I wish upon a fish that this was a little better, well done on my end. I'm sorry about that.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I probably should have streamlined what I wanted to say or talk about, but it's with the flow. It's better that way.
Yeah, it's
It's more
fun. It's
entertaining.
fun. Now, I've got
Let,
about
me- let me
two. Yeah, what's up?
uh-huh.
I got about
Let
two
me let me
questions
let me
left
do
for
a
you.
quick speed run.
Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna do a speed run like the rest of my film cameras real quick.
Got you,
Okay.
got you.
All right. So this right here I also got from the guy,
Hmm.
the Holga 120,
Okay.
but it's modified to shoot Polaroids.
Oh, that is sick.
Yeah. So, and these are very rudimentary. Like they're
Right.
like the most rudimentary a camera can get.
Mhm,
So you have like your quick little focus settings here,
mhm.
and it's got like a filter that's like super crusty. It's gross. But like this thing, I have never used it, but you have like a little switch here. You can take it, you can double exposure these. Like really cool. But this is how they used to do it. You ready for this?
Yep.
You can't use the peephole because the whole
Mhm.
Polaroid thing's covering it. So you
Right.
just have to know.
Mhm,
So then you just take your picture, and then there's a pull tab
mhm,
paper on the right.
mhm.
Pull it, and it should. Let's see. There we go. So you pull that, and it
Mhm.
pulls this. So pull it from this side, and it pulls this thing through,
Mhm.
and then this pulls that, and it pulls out a whole thing like
Jesus.
this, and then you basically get the picture on this side here.
Mhm,
So you would peel this off,
mhm,
peel that off, and that
mhm.
would be your picture right there.
God.
Very, very weird. And you get all this stuff here.
Oh, the extra junk.
Very weird. Yeah. This has probably been sitting in there since 1990. Who knows? But
God, that's
that was the last little Polaroid in that one. I'm glad I got to show you that. Here are two film cameras.
Mhm.
They take 35. It's four lenses. So they're like sports style cameras.
Mhm.
So it'd be like it would just shoot down the line and you get like a motion shot. If you actually crop them onto each other
Mhm.
and on the computer, you can
Mhm.
kind of use it as like a GIF from different angles kind of thing.
Oh, like a 3D camera almost.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
they're
That's
sick.
that was the concept of those.
Mhm.
These are really cool. They're really fun to shoot. Underwater camera,
Mhm.
old underwater film camera. Comes with like a giant like fisheye thing. You got the viewfinder on the top here for
Yeah.
whenever because you can't really pull it up to your eye.
Mhm.
One of the really cool viewfinders. You just sit there like with your goggles on. Yeah. This thing I really want to test, but I need to find a friend who goes scuba diving.
Mhm.
It's got like everything's like weather sealed. So you have like
Right.
a battery thing here that you have to spin with like a coin. That's a really cool camera.
Sealed
Very, very
shut,
fun.
basically.
Yeah, yeah, completely airtight. Very fun.
Yeah, but thanks for
Use it a
showing us
couple
some
times.
cameras,
Yeah.
man. Those were
Hey,
the
yeah.
underwater one is sick. Like
Yeah.
I could already imagine the work that not only that you could do, but like anybody else could do. It's just the
Yeah.
you added a whole nother plane of just
Hmm.
a literal plane of more photos.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I got about like a question and a half for you left. Just before we end this up, we got about 3 minutes left before this program kicks us out. Um, First is, what do you think about AI? Like just AI photos, real quick. I
Uh,
need to hear about this.
I'm not a fan.
Okay.
Um, I do like looking at AI photos,
Hmm.
but for me, I'm not too big of a fan when it comes to combining reality with stuff that's impossible.
Mhm.
So like AI enhanced photos, I mean, yeah, they're not they're pretty okay, but I like the raw aspect of just photos in general. So having AI kind of like build a photo that you physically could not take in reality to
Mhm.
me is kind of not fun.
Right. It's
It
ridiculous.
looks nice,
Uh,
and I won't take that away. That doesn't take anything away from it, but
uh,
it's not reality. You can't
mm,
take that kind of photo. You can't expect it
mm,
because like whenever you see a photo, you can expect it in real life and go see it for yourself, but you
mhm.
can't with AI. So it's just kind of it's just eye candy.
Yeah, it takes the
Not a fan.
fun out of like the whole, like we were saying, like taking the thing in the moment. Like
Yeah,
if that
exactly.
moment never even existed in the first place.
Yeah, yeah. I
Now,
think I think AI photography should just be used for memes, and that's about it.
just for fun, like, but nothing
Yeah,
serious.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
And for a last question, for the last minute, finally, for all those who are aspiring to be photographers or already for photographers, could you give them like any advice to help improve their photography in any way?
So I would say advice that I would give for people wanting to get into it or are into it and trying to like get past that block, the mental block that you run into whenever you start photography, you
Mm,
get into it and you're like, this is fun.
mm,
You take some photos and you get into the editing process or whatever process is next, and you just hit a brick wall because it's like this disconnect. It's
mm,
not worth it kind of thing. Um, I would say try taking photos that you would never take. Go if you like taking pictures of people, go take pictures of cars. Go take pictures of the ground. That right there is one of the weirdest things to take pictures of, and you can get into
mm,
is you can just go outside, go take pictures of your grass.
mm,
Just try it, see what it looks like. Like it's gonna be sitting there. You're like, you take a picture of the grass, right? And you're like, how could I make that look better? Just try the composition, different angles, all that kind of stuff. It'll be it'll inspire you to take that style composition of other things.
mm.
It'll help you keep going. So just take pictures of stuff that you don't really that you would never take pictures of, and just try out different compositions, different objects, and stuff like that. I would
Gotcha.
say that would be the best way to kickstart yourself.
Thank you so much, man, for the advice, and most importantly, thank you for your time. This is
Yeah, no
Kevin.
problem.
I was Eric,
Yep.
your host. This is Photog Talk. Thank you so much for tuning in on the first episode.